Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Erin Scott, and I'll be today's MC. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm currently a program supervisor at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, where I work with homeless youth ages 18 to 24. I'm originally from Texas, from a large religious family, and despite being from a large family background, I know exactly what it feels like to be alienated and isolated because you're LGBT. Growing up, after feeling that isolation and being kicked out at the age of 17, I couch surfed and figured it out and avoided homelessness just by going to college. And after finishing college and deciding to pursue my grad degree, I came out to Los Angeles and did something similar where I felt a lot of isolation and alienation in my grad program, and eventually ended up working at the LGBT Center where I found family and friends. This work is important to me for many reasons. I felt isolation and alienation, and many of the people that I work with know that same experience. These stories need to be told, and although there are many gaps to fill, we are all connected. We are more alike than we are different. Today's program is a special one. It's an opportunity to lift up the struggles, triumphs, and everything in between of our neighbors, housed and unhoused, in the LGBTQ+ community. Unfortunately, we live in a world where bigotry and hatred is still very much alive and active. From family life to housing, many LGBTQ+ persons face a high risk of being on the receiving end of stigmatization, discrimination, rejection, and exclusion, which only adds to the emotional and physical stress of those experiencing homelessness. This is why it takes all of us, whether you identify as LGBTQ+ or not, to advocate and to support solutions that create a more just world, a world where all people can live life authentically without fear of repercussions. Today, you'll hear from people with lived experience, allies, advocates, and others who are working hard to increase inclusive, safe, equitable, and accessible housing and other critical resources in LA. So with that, let's hear from some of the folks breaking down social, economic, and attitudinal barriers to create a more just and inclusive world. Please welcome today's first speaker, Sean Pleasance, pronouns he, him. If you haven't heard it before from CNN or LA Times, Sean's story is an incredibly moving one and is a powerful reminder that homelessness is a complex issue and can happen to anyone. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, welcome to Stories from the Frontline. I'm Sean. I'm here to tell you a story about the 10 years plus that I spent on the street. Up till that time, I'd lived a pretty charmed life, so to speak. I had been valedictorian at my high school. I grew up in San Antonio. I later went to Yale University where I graduated. I worked on Wall Street. I owned my own business and was living a comfortable life until my mom announced to the family that she had colon cancer and that she would not be long for this world. At the same time, my business folded, and all of this threw me into turmoil. I went into severe depression. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move forward and ended up on the street. First, we ended up in my car. And I say we, me and my husband, the two of us. We couch surfed. We stayed with friends from time to time. We'd park near places that we were familiar with. But we were always in denial that we were homeless. Finally, we lost the car completely. At that point, we were literally on the street. And things were much tougher then. It became a struggle on a daily basis. The basics of life that people would typically secure during the month, be it a place to stay, food, security, safety, companionship. We had to do these things every single day. You were constantly moving because you couldn't stay in the same place sometimes. The city might be requiring you to move. You never knew where you're going to find a meal, a bathroom, medical care, or any of the necessities that you might need. This was very, very unsettling and a very difficult situation. We lost hope. We ended up surrendering to the street, so to speak. And at that point, it's where you begin to live in a survival mode. It was no longer about trying to get out of the situation. It was just trying to stay afloat, trying not to be eaten alive by it. You hear often about how every single day in Los Angeles, 5 homeless people lose their life. Well, on 4 different occasions, I nearly lost my life, and my husband nearly lost his life on 2 different occasions. So I know personally how dangerous it is when one lives on the street. But the good thing was that we had each other. Being on the street with one's partner made all the difference for me. It's not somewhere we want to be, but if I was going to be there, having the support, having the love, and having someone to look after you and look over your back was invaluable. That relationship definitely was tantamount to my survival in that situation. I was fortunate in that after 10 years of being on the street, we were finally able to get out, with the help of CNN, an angel, a person who came and actually helped us step by step reclaim our lives and recover. At this point, I've been housed for about a year. I'm doing great. I'm working as an advocate for the homeless. I'm trying to do for others what wasn't done for me, which is mainly give people hope, give them respect, and give them a way out of the street. There needs to be clear pathways to help people recover their lives. There needs to be that sense of hope and that sense of there being a future. And there needs to be a lot of follow-up and follow-through. We're dealing with human lives here, and oftentimes people think that easy temporary fixes, shelters, and some of these programs can do it all, and they can't. People need to be repaired. They need to be made whole again. This is a holistic problem, and once we do that, we can have a better society for everyone. I'm Sean, and I'm your neighbor.
Thank you, Sean, for sharing your deeply personal story and for shining a light on the love and partnership that helped carry you through some of the harder times. We all appreciate the work you are doing to lift others up. Next, we will hear a special performance from the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles. The group's first performance was in the summer of 1979 in West Hollywood. Through the height of the AIDS crisis, the chorus lost over 150 members. Only a few original members remain. As a result, GMCLA has a deep history of service within the LGBT community, singing at countless memorials, making and commissioning music that helps the community to mourn, to celebrate, to dream, and to prepare for victory. For over 40 years, the chorus has built an international reputation for musical excellence while remaining deeply rooted in service to the Los Angeles community. Welcome.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken part. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, 'cause no one will love you as you are. But won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. against my skin. Far away, 'cause today I won't let that shame sink in. We are bursting to the barricades and reaching towards the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's what we become. I won't let them break me down to dust, 'cause I know that there's a place for us. For we are warriors. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, sharpest words wanna cut me down. Gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. Brave, bruised, ooh, this is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no whenever the words wanna cut me down, send the flood, gonna drown them out. I know that I deserve your love. There's nothing I'm not worthy of. This is me.
Wow. Thank you for that beautiful performance. It was amazing. Our next speakers are Viv Pierce, pronouns they, them, and Bernadette Lopez, pronouns she, her. Viv and Bernadette work here with me at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, and it is my honor to introduce you to them so they can give you a snippet of their journey.
Hello, my name is Viv Pierce. My pronouns are they, them, and I am an outreach peer advocate at the center.
Hi, my name is Bernadette Lopez. I'm one of the education coordinators here at the LA LGBT Center, and we're going to be sharing our experiences with you, and what better way to do it through conversation.
Okay, let's hop right into it. All right. How would you describe the work the LA LGBT Center does?
I think I would describe the work that the center does as just really well-rounded. We do a variety of things for the community. We have activist programs, medical care, and then we have the work that we do directly with our homeless youth. It's actually pretty incredible how far we've come since 1969 when we started, so very well-rounded. How did you hear about the center? What was your experience?
Well, I heard about the center through my gay foster parents back when I was 17. This was just so I can expand from the Long Beach queer scene, since I was going to be transitioning into the adult life, and since I was going to be on my own afterwards, having a larger community. When I first came here after I graduated, it was a different experience. I got to witness the queer community through a different lens, since I wasn't really familiar with the whole homeless scene. And in coming here, it gave me a lot of humility. What made you want to work at the center?
I actually started my work with the center when I was about 18 years old. I started volunteering with the Leadership Lab, which is an activist program here at the center. They were tabling at my college campus, and being raised by two moms, I saw a rainbow flag and I instantly knew I was home. Almost 10 years later, I took up this job as an education coordinator, and I still feel like I'm at home, and I've been given even more of a chance to give back to the community that has just had such a big role in raising me. Yeah. What are some things that helped you gain housing stability?
Well, in graduating high school with no work experience, and then me coming here to the center at 18, and then them immediately offering an internship to me as soon as I stepped into the space, it allowed me to build my resume, and allowed me to learn like how to exist in the workforce without like risking it and actually being in the workforce, because it's an internship, it's not an actual.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that was extremely helpful. It allowed me to save money, learn how to spend it, reel in my spending habits, you know.
We all need that.
Yeah, we all need that. Phew. And overall taught me how to like work with people. But then on top of that, there's the Ambassador Coalition, which is like working at the center. It's just on the youth side, and it allowed me to like exist around my peers and learn how to work with them, and also with having someone to like look up to as a mentor in the ambassador program, it also helped me mature, because you know, my first place that's completely on my own, I am by myself, and if I didn't have those two things to help me, then I don't think I would have had the maturity to hold it together, and I think my spending would have been all over the place.
Well, it's good that we avoided that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the challenges our youth face today, and in what ways do you see the staff take supportive actions?
I think some of the challenges that our youth face today are coming from the effects of systematic racism and other government systems. The demographic that we serve is mostly Black, and some of the youth have simply just aged out of the foster care youth system. And the youth fulfills a need that isn't really being supported by any other government systems. We're really there to help support our youth navigate systems that weren't made with our youth in mind. Take, for instance, the program that I work in, education. We're there along the way as our youth enroll into college vocational schooling. And we understand that taking some of these steps can be scary. And we want to be able to be there to guide our youth so that they can benefit from the education system rather than fall through any cracks. Yeah. It's not. What made you apply for your current position? And what are some of the favorite aspects of your job here?
Well, one, the whole peer advocate, peer support specialist position was created by my peers and my chosen family who were here before me. The position I came into was my sister, who was the one who pretty much held me together here, along with like all the staff and everyone. So to come into that position is like an inheritance to me, like passing up the torch. So that was very special. I mean, I came here when I was 18, you know, from internships, so being on the YA side, and then through the ambassador program, which taught me like how to do things like groups and everything, and learning how it is like communicating to people on the outside. Like it really like, it just made sense that I would apply.
Yeah.
And then also with them putting 6 years of like holding me up and like not letting me slip through or fade away, like I want to give back, and it's very easy to give back because I've pretty much always been here. You know, I really like working here because now I'm giving back to the youth that are coming in after me, and I'm like really a good face to look at.
Yeah. I love that.
So what are some of your favorite aspects of your current position?
I think some of my favorite aspects of my current position is seeing the resilience that our youth have. They sometimes just really bulldoze through all the challenges that come their way, I see them conquer fears that had been there embedded in their lives for a really long time. And seeing their low self-esteem really grow and increase to having a very healthy, high self-esteem brings me a lot of joy. Yeah. How do you want to grow here at the center?
So when I came into this position, I came in with the mindset of I want to grow here like how my natural growth is. And my natural growth, or how I like to grow in anything, is that I like to go out, as in learning everything I can about whatever I'm in until there's like no room, and then going up. So then as we're going up, since I know everything, anything that's vestigial, that's not needed, can get cut off. Since I'm coming in with experience, tweaking things here or there, bringing ideas that may help better whatever programs, and just overall making the system that everyone goes through a lot smoother, better, more efficient, so we can focus on other things. Yeah. Thanks. What can people do to help youth at risk or experiencing homelessness?
Some of the things that folks can do for youth that are either at risk or currently experiencing homelessness is donate to an organization like the center that helps our youth directly. Another thing that folks can do is be on the lookout for any measures that are on the ballot that could affect our youth, such as low-income housing, limits on rent increases, and then also funding towards resource centers like ours. Yeah. How have you changed as a person from when you first came to the center?
Okay, just get out the way. My default is that I trust no one. So when I came into this space, I was not trusting anyone, because I'm coming into my own little community, but since it's new, I don't trust any of y'all, period. Over time and getting to know the staff, getting to know the youth that I was surrounded by, meeting those who were there in the past, whether they're staff or a youth, and then meeting both of those that are coming in the future. It really helped me reflect and grow upon myself, also adding in the internships and getting to know the staff better, and the ambassadorships where I get to know the staff and the youth better.
Yeah, building that trust.
Yeah,
right?
Building that trust, very important to help me open up and then also focus on myself so I can be a more relaxed person. I'm more relaxed here now. It's been
more secure.
Yeah, more secure, in my bag a little bit, low key, Yeah. Awesome. I'm Viv.
And I'm Bernadette.
And we're your neighbors.
Thank you, Viv and Bernadette, for sharing your stories. The work you're doing at the center is so important, and we're so thankful to have you on the team. Our final speaker is Carter Hughley, pronouns he, him, who currently serves as Director of Homeless Initiatives at the United Way of Greater LA. Carter leads the Home for Good team, which is working to build evidence-based resources and strategic coalition to end homelessness in LA County. Prior to United Way, Carter worked as a senior advisor at the DC Department of Human Services, where he oversaw efforts to increase permanent housing exits, expand daytime service centers, launch shelter division programs, implement harm reduction in low barrier shelters, and transition the family system away from a motel sheltering model. Welcome, Carter.
Hi, my name is Carter Hughley, and I'm the Director of Homeless Initiatives at the United Way of Greater Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for another virtual Stories from the Frontline, and more importantly, for showing your support of our mission to end homelessness in LA County. I'd also like to thank Aaron Scott for emceeing today's program and for all of the incredible work they do with the LGBT Center. I hope you feel as inspired as I do. The passion, the empathy, power, and courage exhibited and each speaker reinforces the fact that there is an army of love and support working to combat the hatred, the bigotry, and the traumatization that so many LGBT people experience. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer people's experiences of homelessness is an underexplored area of housing and homelessness research, despite this group making up 20 to 40% of the homeless population. 40% of the runaway and homeless youth population identifies as LGBTQ compared to 10% of the general population. And knowing that homelessness is disproportionately experienced by African Americans indicates a need to address housing instability among LGBTQ people in complex ways that are inclusive of, but not limited to, a strong LGBTQ advocacy agenda. As for my own journey in this work, growing up as a feminine, deeply closeted gay person in the rural South in the 80s and 90s gave me a small taste of what it feels like to be marginalized, ridiculed, and discriminated against. And losing a gay family member to the AIDS epidemic really scared me into thinking that I would be banished to a life of loneliness and sickness. But once I left home and felt safe in a community of my choice, I realized how much power and privilege I also have as a white cisgender man, and that my only choice is to use that power and privilege to fight for a better world for those whose marginalization preceded mine, is more challenging than mine, and still endures. Here in the United States, all of our systemic failures are manifest in the crisis of homelessness, where systemic racism and marginalization have pushed too many people to a life of disconnection, illness, and traumatization. So I can't not work on it. If I'm going to know what I know, I can't not work on ending homelessness. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Carter, and I am your neighbor.
Thank you, Carter. I think it's fair to say we are all moved by your vulnerability and commitment to this work. So many people came together to make this afternoon possible, and for that, we are grateful. Thank you to everyone who shared such powerful stories. I want to specifically thank today's partners, our co-hosts, Stories from the Frontline, the John and Marilyn Wells Family Foundation, the Los Angeles LGBT Center, West Hollywood Housing Corporation, and everyone who shared their personal stories with us today. If you haven't already, sign up and join Everyone In at www.everyoneinla.org. Thanks again for being with us today. I'm Erin, and I am your neighbor.